ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಓಂ ಸಹನಾವವತು ಸಹನೋ ಭುನಕ್ತು ಸಹ ವೀರ್ಯಂಕರಾವಹೈ ತೇಜಸ್ವಿನಾಬ್ಧೀತಮಸ್ತು ಮಾ ವಿದ್ವಿಷಾವಹೈ. ಓಂ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ. So the next dharana is an interesting dharana. The reason is not everyone is in the same page to accept this as a dharana. That is why it is an interesting dharana. Bhattananda accepts this as a dharana, whereas Shivopadhyaya does not mention this as a dharana. Does not mean that he does not accept, he does not mention even anything as dharana. He just says next, that's all. And he is not clubbing two shlokas here. He is just individually explaining this. So this is accepted as a dharana also by Shivopadhyaya. That is how we have to take. But Bhattananda, he very specifically, categorically says aparamaha. The next one is said. Next one means next dharana. Okay. So if you don't accept this as a dharana, you will have 112 dharanas. If you accept this as a dharana, then you will have 113 as dharana. That's the problem. That is why people are afraid to accept this as dharana, because we have already declared there is only 112. Why should I include one more, 113? How can it be 113 now? This is a problem. One more dharana, more the merrier, right? So one more dharana means one more possibility of meditating. So that is one answer. The second answer is in between there was one dharana which was not in every reading. I told you this is not in Shivopadhyaya had that, but not Bhattananda. So I said this is a reading which is in other text but not in some other text. Meaning that one dharana is an extra dharana. If you remove that dharana and include this dharana, then it is because both people accept this as one dharana. Therefore, this is 112 dharana again. But still, as I said, there is no need for becoming very stingy. You can have one more extra dharana. What is the problem? So what is the reason the others who don't accept this as a dharana give? They say this does not have any practice, but this explains the state of the yogi in that situation. That situation, whatever we practiced in the previous dharana. In previous dharana, we said knowledge and desire exist everywhere in pot, etc. I have the object and knowledge that I know pot, etc. And I have the desire, I want pot, etc. And I want the I have the activity with the pot. I want to create it, etc. So everything is existing in everywhere. That is what we said. So based on that, he says this dharana is the experience for that practice. No, that is a different practice and this is a different practice. One more thing is bhairava state is implicit in every dharana here. Whether it is said or not does not really matter. It is implicit. The dharana you are practicing will lead you to bhairava state. That is understood. There is another point here. If though Anopaya also declares bhairava state, Shaktopaya declares bhairava state, Shambhopaya also declares bhairava state, then why do I have to go for the toughest Shambhopaya or tougher Shaktopaya? I can just practice Anopaya and be happy with the bhairava state. True. That is a logic. But the problem is your Shambho Anopaya does not directly lead you to the bhairava state. Anopaya leads you to Shaktopaya, leads you to Shambhopaya, which leads finally to your bhairava state. Directly, you cannot go to bhairava state from Anopaya. It leads to Shambhopaya, Shaktopaya, then Shambhopaya. Similarly, Shaktopaya also does not lead you to directly the bhairava state. It leads you to Shambhopaya and then finally to the bhairava state. That is how the order is. That is how it is. Okay. Now, when we are practicing this, you gain the bhairava state. How? Now, what is Anopaya? Anopaya allows you to meditate upon grosser things. Okay. So which you can imagine easily. Whereas Shakta meditates on subtle things, which is difficult for grasping with through an untrained mind. That is why we differentiate Anopaya from Shakta, because both have objects, but the object for Anopaya is grosser when compared to the Shakta Upaya, which is subtle. Okay. Whereas in Shambha Upaya, there is no object itself. That is why it is most difficult. So without the practice of Anopaya, Shakta Upaya, you cannot get into Shambha Upaya. Okay. So here, this is the sadhana. This is a Shambha Upaya because there is no object here. That is how you have to see. Okay. Grāhyagrāhakasaṃvittiḥ sāmānyā sarvadehinām yogināṃ tu viśeṣo'sti. There is another reading, viśeṣo'sti, viśeṣo'ayam, does not really matter. Viśeṣo'sti saṃbandhe sāvadhānatā grāhyagrāhakasaṃvittiḥ sāmānyā sarvadehinām yogināṃ tu viśeṣo'sti saṃbandhe sāvadhānatā. Beautiful. What does he say? This I told you, it's a special, it's a different Dhāraṇā. What does this Dhāraṇā say? Grāhyagrāhaka bhedaha. Subject-object connection, association. Karta karma. In Sanskrit, we say karta karma. Karta means the doer. That's normal interpretation. Karta here means subject. Okay. Karma means action. That is the normal interpretation. Karma in Sanskrit means kartur ipsitatam karma. That which is most desired by the karta, the doer, the subject is the karma. That means it is object. So what this sutra says is, this Dhāraṇā says is, the subject-object relationship is common for everyone. The knower-known relationship is common for, simple terms, knower-known relationship is common for everybody. No one is exempt from that. But there is a speciality for the yogis, because they are very clear about the relationship. Okay. Now, grāhyagrāhakasaṃvittiḥ, the knowledge of saṃvittiḥ, saṃvit means knowledge. The knowledge of grāhyagrāhaka, grāhya, the object of knowledge, grāhaka, the knower. Grāhya, the object, grāhaka, the subject. Okay. So this sāmānyā sarvadehinām, it's a common, it's a general thing, it's a taken thing, it's an understood thing from everybody. Everybody means right from the small insect till the Sadashiva state. We have already said this. Kitadi Sadashiva Varyantam, right from the ant till the Sadashiva state. A state below the Shiva state, bhairavo state. Okay. Now, how do you say it is common? Because for Sadashiva, he identifies with everything and he says all these are I. I am all this. Whatever that is, he is identifying with the objects. He perceives the object and he identifies himself with everything. But when you see that Sadashiva has identified, he perceives the objects. Okay, let us see like that. Sadashiva is the knower and he sees the objects, ant, etc. Whereas if you see the ant is the knower and Sadashiva also becomes an object for it. For an ant, the whole world is object. For you, the ant is also an object. You understand? So in everyone, this knower-known relationship is understood. Everyone knows that. But the difference is we get caught in the knower-known relationship. Like I tell you, this cloth is me. Respect this cloth. This cloth is me. So when I say this, you, because of the Shraddha, start under accepting this cloth to be me. You worship this cloth because I mentioned, they directly said to you, this is me. So you respect this cloth as you respect me. True. Now let us suppose there is an incident, there is a fire in the place I am, where this cloth is also. Whom will you protect? Whom will you first save? Cloth? Because Guruji said, cloth is me or me. So the cloth is an object, you know that. But because of the Shraddha, you see that as similar to the other person. But you know the clarity. Understand? The knower-known relationship is there very clear. But since it is a superimposed association, we accept that to be the knower also in some states, some conditions, right? So here, for the general public, the subject-object relationship sometimes is blurred. But for the yogi, not sometimes, almost all the time it is blurred. For the yogi, yogināṃ tu viśeṣo'sti. Viśeṣaya means this is the specialty. Viśeṣo'sti means there is a specialty. That's the difference. Okay. So this is specialty. What is that? Saṃbandhe, sāvadhānatā. Saṃbandhe in the relationship, sāvadhānatā means careful. Carefulness means vigilance. So he is eternally vigilant with respect to the relationship. With respect to the relationship, eternal vigilance means eternal vigilance is the price for liberty, right? So the eternal vigilance in the relationship means he never forgets that he is the seer, and the whole world which is in front of him, means not outside the body, including the body, the mind, everything is the seen. He has no misunderstanding regarding it. But we see the body sense organ complex as the seer and the rest of the seen. That is the difference. Okay, so that is what will lead you to saṃbandhe sāvadhānatā. When you are having this clarity with respect to the seer, then the seer is bhairavo. We already said that the seer is bhairavo. Therefore, he gains the bhairavo state. This is a shambho upaya because it has no gross or subtle object of meditation. Okay, now next. svavadanyaśarīre'pi saṃvittimanubhāyavet apekṣāṃ svaśarīrasya tyaktvā vyāpī dinairbhavet. So saṃvitti in the previous sloka also, saṃvitti in this sloka also, there is a connection. So that also we established that to be a Dhāraṇā. svavadanyaśarīre'pi saṃvittimanubhāyavet apekṣāṃ svaśarīrasya tyaktvā vyāpī dinairbhavet. So what does he say? As you love yourself, love the others also. Love thy neighbors. That's not the idea. We'll come to this. Okay. So meditate the knowledge in everyone, everything, everybody. Apekṣāṃ, by giving up the attachment to your own body, you become omnipresent in a very few days. Okay. svavadanyaśarīre'pi. Swavat. Swamagyati dhanakyayam. That is the Panini Sutra which says I, mine, of the wealth, etc. It's called as swa. The relatives, wealth, etc. is called as swa. Okay. So swa can be for I and mine. Now, swavat, svaśarīravat, like I respect my body, I am attached to my body. Sarvaśarīre'pi, with respect to all the other embodiments, bodies, saṃvittimanubhāyavet, have the same knowledge. Have the same knowledge as you have with your own body, with the other bodies also. This is similar to the practice which we saw earlier. Meditate everything. That no, we are not talking about the same sadhana. We are talking about different sadhana here. As you love your body, you love the other's body. We are not talking about you to love the other's body. As you don't give any importance to your body, don't give importance to the other body. Other bodies also. How do you say this? Because apekṣāṃ svaśarīrasya tyaktvā. Apekṣā means expectancy. In reality, it is attachment. Attachment, svaśarīrasya tyaktvā, by giving up the attachment with your own body. How do you give up the attachment with your own body? By understanding that there is no reality, there is no truth, there is no essence in the body. It is not real. because it does not exist in other states, in other places, before, after. So it is not a truth. It is not me, because I perceive it in my waking state, not in dream state, right? In deep sleep state. So, but I am the seer in all the three states. I am the seer in the waking state, dream state, and deep sleep. I don't escape in any state. I am always existent in all the three states. So, by giving up the attachment to the embodiment, your own embodiment, which is similar to the other's embodiment also. Don't give importance to others' embodiment also. Because why I have to say this specifically is because it is only said by giving up the attachment to your own body. I don't have to give up attachment to the other bodies, right? So the problem is, like I said, respecting the towel. Similarly, people start attaching because the Shivopadhyaya makes a stupid commentary saying, he says, it's a stupid commentary because he says there are people, probably he may say that there are people who may think like that, but he says you can think that even if I die, bhairava is my inherent nature. Even if I die, does not really matter. I exist in other bodies also. Since I am omnipresent, I exist through the other bodies. We are not talking about existence through other bodies. We are talking about giving up the attachment with your body itself. Because abhinivesha, that is the difficultest, the very difficult thing to give up. Attachment to the body. The fear of death. Abhinivesha means attachment to the body because fear of death. Okay, abhinivesha is fear of death. This is because of the attachment to the body, right? So that we have to give up, not with reference to one's own body, with reference to the other's body also. So what will happen with this? He goes on to make another statement saying, these are all gross statements. He goes on to say that if you are going to practice this, then you are going to gain, while alive, you are going to gain the anima, etc., supernatural powers. If you die, you gain the embodiment of a king, etc. Who wants to be a king? We don't want to be a king, simple king, though it has its own perks, etc. But we want to get rid of the cycle of birth and death, right? So that is why he says, don't get into this. So that is why we have to understand, like you give up the attachment to your own body. That is how you have to interpret it. So, svaśarīrasya apekṣāṃ tyaktvā. From there you have to start. Svaśarīrasya apekṣāṃ tyaktvā means giving up the attachment to your own body. Now, svavadanyaśarīre'pi, like you give up the attachment to your own body, giving up attachment with the other bodies also. saṃvittimanubhāyavet. Understand the knowledge existent in everything. Understand the underlying consciousness existing in everything by giving up the attachment with every embodiment. That is the idea. Okay, this is a shakta upaya. You can practice this. This is a shakta upaya. Okay, you have to give up the attachment with the body sense organ complex. That is the idea. Seeing that there is no essence, it's all superimposed. There is no reality there. Okay, now. nirādhāraṃ manaḥ kṛtvā vikalpānna vikalpayet tadātmaparamātmatve bhairavo mṛgalocane. nirādhāraṃ manaḥ kṛtvā vikalpāt na vikalpayet tadātmaparamātmatve bhairavo mṛgalocane. Okay, now in the place of tadātmaparamātmatve, you can have Jīvātmaparamatmatve, simple. It directly gives you the meaning. Okay, we'll understand what this. What he says is, by making the mind without any support, by making the mind supportless, by making the mind objectless, and not troubling it with any other thoughts. When the individual self and the absolute self, the individual self merges in the absolute self, the individual self becomes the absolute self, that is bhairava. Hey mṛgalocane, oh dear-eyed. Mṛgalocana is mṛga means deer and lochana means eye. Mṛgalocana. There are names like this: meenalochana, meenakshi, etc. Like that, mṛgalocana. No, mṛgakshi, mṛgalocana, etc. There are that's all names. We now no one has these names, but we have Meenakshi, uh, fish-eyed. Okay. Nirādhāraṃ manaḥ kṛtvā. What is Adhara means support? What is the support for the mind? Support for the mind is objects. So by turning the mind away from the objects, when you turn the mind away from the objects, then he says, vikalpānna vikalpayet. Don't trouble it with the choices. That is the interpretation. Vikalpa means choices, or doubts. Is it like this or like that? Don't trouble it. No. What we mean by that is, don't trouble my mind with the good or bad ideas. Is it good? Is it bad? Should I do? Should I not do? Or even this, is this right or not right? So perfectly to say that is I'm meditating. Even that idea, don't trouble it with that. So the best way to understand it is vikalpa means shabdaඥānānubhāti vastushunyah. There is no object, but you gain the knowledge of the object when the words are used. So don't give the mind to hold on to any empty words. They are empty words. They don't have any object. So when the mind is removed from the association of all the objects, no, don't give the mind to think about any empty objects. Okay, empty words. So when you don't give the mind to be attached or associated with the empty words, then jīvātmaparamātmatve, tadātmaparamātmatve or jīvātmaparamātmatve, simple. When the Jivatma, the individual self, merges in the absolute self, bhairavo, you become that bhairavo. Then he says, oh mṛgalocane, oh the dear-eyed one, this is what is the truth. Okay, this is a saṃbandhe upāya. This is not a simple thing, it's a saṃbandhe upāya, because we are asking you to empty the mind. It is not easy for Ānava upāya or Shakta upāya people. This is a saṃbandhe upāya. Okay, we'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.